In this problem, we're asked to find the impulse that the flower pot receives from the ground when it lands on it. The main ideas employed in this problem are using kinematic equations and impulse. Recall that the impulse is equal to the change in momentum. To find the impulse the flower pot receives, we'll calculate its change in momentum as it comes to rest. So we set its final momentum equal to 0 because it's no longer moving, and its initial momentum is then equal to its mass times the velocity right before it hits the ground. We'll use the kinematic equations to calculate this velocity and then ultimately calculate the impulse that the flower pot receives from the ground. We are looking for a kinematic equation that will allow us to solve for the velocity of the flower pot right before it hits the ground when we only know the height of the building, that the flower pot was initially at rest, and that the acceleration acting on it is due to gravity. We can immediately eliminate these three kinematic equations because they are all functions of time, and we don't know how long it takes for the flower pot to go from the top of the building to the bottom. That leaves us with this kinematic equation here, and checking, we want to solve for the velocity. The initial velocity we know, which is equal to 0, the acceleration is due to gravity, and the change in distance is the height of the building. So we'll be able to use this kinematic equation. We substitute in our known quantities into the kinematic equation and solve for v. Taking the square root, we have both a plus and a minus root. We choose the negative of the two because the flower pot is moving down and we're using the standard coordinate system where the negative y direction is down. To find the impulse the flower pot receives from the ground, we substitute in our expression for velocity and plug in the numbers given in the problem statement to find that the impulse the flower pot receives from the ground is equal to 12.3 kilograms times meters per second, and it's directed up. Similarly, the impulse that the ground receives from the flower pot is equal to negative this number, so that is equal to negative 12.3 kilograms times meters per second, and it's pointed down.